Welcome back, everybody, to the Shine Within podcast. It's so interesting. I'm not actually doing an intro today because I do have a Kyra Mitchell Lewis here with us again. Such a blessing, such an honor. And if you don't know her, well, you better know her. She is the host of Glow Up Girl podcast, and she's just doing amazing things. And I just had to have her come on here again, not only because she's like a soul sister and I love her, but because she is bringing to the table something magical and whimsical. And I'm excited to have her share what it is. And yes, I'm excited because, the holidays are just around the corner. And
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but I don't know. I don't want to be shopping outside at the malls or anything. But anyway, Kyra, for listeners who don't know you yet, and like I said, they should know you, can you just go ahead and please tell us about yourself and what led you to start Whimsy and Wonder Collective?
Yes, well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much, Gina, for having me back on. I mean, when we spoke the two times that we've like talked as on each other's podcast, and then just sometimes that we chatted in between, she is right. She is the soul sister, and I'm so grateful that that I met her and that we have come together. It's really awesome to find your people, and even as you get older, to find your people, because I think a lot of times like we put ages. So I'm here to just say, like, don't put a cap on, like, if you can find new friends. Because I think
Right.
the older you get, it's like, you're finding your people. And not like your friends that you met when you were younger, but me being a woman of faith, I definitely believe, seasons. People have seasons. Sometimes they're not there forever. Doesn't mean you don't love them. But I think always keep yourself open to finding new people. All right, so a little bit about me. I am, as Gina mentioned, I am the host of the Globe Girl podcast. I'm also a consultant and just overall a creative entrepreneur. And with Whimsy and Wonder is something I launched back in July. It was born out of just this need to feel like I was still connecting to things that feel nostalgic in my life. I am a person who loves like crafting. I love puzzles. I love um, record players. And it's very much rooted in thinking back to times with my parents. So the things that I think, quite honestly, we take for granted when we're younger, is just that time to do basic things. Like I remember on Saturday mornings, my parents and I, like as we were cleaning the house, we would just listen to records. And my dad used to put together like these model cars. So I'd always like put together like, watch him or like kind of help where I could. And then my mom and I would always like puzzle when we puzzled as a family. And puzzling was something I came back to around the pandemic, right? Most people, we were in the house. So I had some puzzles that I had bought and hadn't put together, but then I started to put them together. And then oddly, my mom and I, even though we were apart, we started to do the same puzzles. Like I would order a puzzle for her, I would order one for myself, and we would like put those puzzles together. We talk about it, and there was just this sense of connection to something that felt pure and took me back to a very innocent time. And here over the last year, I started to put together more of like miniatures. So think about like you probably have seen if you've seen a book nook or you've seen like these like replica type things. I am very much into those. Like I cannot tell you the peace and the joy that it brings, but like I said, it's very calming activity. It's very tactile. I feel like it helps to stimulate the brain. So a lot of times you'll find me with my headphones on, sitting at what has been deemed, unfortunately, my dining room table as my workspace. My husband doesn't love it so much. He's like, I mean, like, how long is this gonna go? And then I actually used one of my guest rooms to turn it into a library recently, this past year. And now, now I've got like the table in the library has a puzzle on it, and the table downstairs has a miniature on it. He's like, I thought we were like trying to figure out like how to make the spaces cleaner. I was like, oh, whatever. But anyway. Long story, very long story. I'm trying to get around to. But when I thought about launching Whimsy and Wonder Collective, I just wanted to create a space and a place that felt like joy for other people. And I know that, right now, a lot of people are still feeling very lonely. I know that we have come out of, the pandemic for some time ago, but I still hear a lot of people who say they feel
I think I may have lost you there. Maybe it'll come back. I don't hold that thought, Kyra, because you're on pause. Let's see what's going on here.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's totally fine.
We
I just saw your beautiful face stay still for a while, but I hear her for a little bit, and then it went silence.
It
Oh,
was,
good.
oh my gosh. We just had some rain here not too long ago.
Oh yeah,
And
it's raining
then
too.
like, yeah, and it just, I don't know, I guess my internet just said I can't like kick me off.
I
Okay.
get it. I totally get it. Mine's been so like yesterday I was recording and then it was just cutting out. I'm like, oh no,
I mean,
this
your
weather.
editor is gonna be like, thanks for the extra work this week.
I'm the editors.
Oh my gosh,
It's,
I'm so sorry.
it's no, my goodness. Listen, this stuff goes raw on YouTube. It's just I use the recording for social media clips, so we're
Okay.
all good. And then I edit the podcast for audio. It's all good.
Okay. Okay.
We're
Okay.
having
Well,
fun.
I don't remember where did I freeze?
I believe when you were talking about the pandemic.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So just pick up.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
okay,
right where you are.
perfect. Okay. All right. So, like I was mentioning, like, with the pandemic, so many, people coming out of it, a lot of people still felt like they were lonely. I think some people, just thought like everybody was like ready to just jump back into the world. But so many people still longed for those activities that they had picked up and things that just made them feel safe
Yeah.
and things that make them, that just felt like a safe space for them, made them feel secure. And so this is what this brand is all about. It's a little bit of sparking that curiosity. If you are a person who's like me, you're a dreamer, you are a person who is creative, you enjoy crafting, you enjoy doing things with your hands. But also, it's just this space where you can authentically find joy and be yourself. And like I think I was mentioning, I'm not an introvert. These are a lot of like introverted activities. I'm technically an extrovert, but I think I'm a little bit of half and half. I like people. People are cool, but I also really enjoy like doing things, quiet time and doing things for myself. So, Whimsy and Wonder Collective is a space that has all types of treats for you. So if you like puzzles, you can find puzzles there. You can find like giftable items. Like I've got a really great like fall comfy set that's out there now. So if you're like a journaler, a person who likes to journal, you like fun pens. I mean, I can never have enough pens. I am so sorry. Lord, forgive me, but I can never have enough pens and journals. Like also there's tea. So if you're looking for like a soothing night in, you can find things like that. Also, if you are a person who likes printables, I never really thought much about like that I would want to create like printables. I thought all of my gift sets would be like physical gift sets, but I've had some of the most fun time like putting together like these digital kits. So if you're somebody you're like, oh, I'll tell you about one of them that I really love. It's the Book Fair Daydream. Anybody who knows me knows that I love a good book fair. And I was like, back in the day, give me those $20. Let me go to that Scholastic book fair. And I got like Lisa Frank. We got We got posters on the wall, like all those things. So this is like a nod, like a tribute to that. So you'll find like if you're a reader, obviously, like you'll have a book tracker there. You can track all the books that you read in a year, but however long you may read, like so many books, so you can track those books. Also, there are bookmarks that you can print out. There's also stickers. So it's like all the sort of things that you would find at the book fair. So it's a tribute to that. So you can go in there, you can buy it, download it, print it out as many times as you want, share it with as many people as you like. That's one of the things I really like about the printables is that, I mean, it's a one-time purchase. You go in, you purchase it, and then you can use it. You can use it for groups. You can use it for fun activities with your family. But there's several different ones that are on the site, and it's one of the things that I really love because it's where I feel like I get to be really creative with like coming up with new ideas. So, whew, long way around, my friend, but that is Whimsy and Wonder Collective, sort of like as it's in its true form.
That is so beautiful. Yes, I love how you brought back like childhood in the 90s, right? You mentioned
Right.
Lisa
Yeah.
Frank
Yes.
stickers. This reminded me, you just describing these products, you took me back to my childhood where I had like diaries with the little lock, remember the key and the little lock?
Yes.
I had that. I had stickers and I had journals,
Mhm.
and I would put those stickers on the journal, depending on my mood, and I would write out what I was
Right.
feeling, and then I put whatever sticker relates to that,
Yes.
and it just brings so much fun. Like, I loved being a little girl
Hmm.
in the night. You know what? And to be honest, I think it actually helped me with my trauma.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, 90s, I was going through trauma in the 80s and the 90s, bad trauma where this was my outlet then, like
Hmm. Hmm.
exploring things, being creative. That was my
Right.
outlet, and it
Yeah.
helped me so much. And I know like we often lose touch with like hobbies, play, and creativity.
Yes.
Especially when, like,
Yes.
for myself, because later on in life, I numbed myself with alcohol and I struggled with other things too.
Hmm.
In your opinion, I wanted to know, how does reintroducing fun and creativity become a way of healing and reconnecting with how God created us to
Yeah.
be?
Yeah, because it's like, I think it's because it's like everything else is stripped away, right? Like it's stripped and you're just able to kind of fold back into a time that felt good to you. Like you just said, like it took you back to maybe a time when you were younger, when you really enjoyed like writing in that journal, putting those stickers in. And I think a lot of times people forget that like you can still feel that as an adult. You
Yes.
can still feel that as an adult. You can still feel that when you're going through things. You can still pick up and write. And like I always say, one thing about journaling, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, it's just a place for you to just be able to get it out. And I think sometimes, and it's great to be able to get it out and to still have it in a place because you can go back to it and you can say, wow, like this is how I was feeling on this day. Because the truth of it is that we will come out on the other side. Like I always say, and I definitely truly believe this, like if God brings you to it, he'll bring you through it.
Yeah.
And but part of having that testimony of like how he brought it through you is being able to capture like things in notes or experiences. So it's like you've got this journal, you have to write all these things down. And I think it is often like healing to go back and read where you were because you will see like, oh, I've done the work. I put in the work. Like I was here and I felt so low when I wrote this. And then as you go throughout the days and you start to come out on the other side, then you get to go back and you get to like thank God for the moments, like, for giving you that journey because it's still part of the journey. Even the times that don't feel so good to us, they are still part of our story in the way that He wants for you to, really elevate Him to others and to be able to tell other people about the goodness Like it all ties back to that. Like, whatever the scenario is, these are just tools, right? I look at them, like you said, these are just tools that God put on my heart, something that He put inside of me to create. And I hope that people can use them in the moments that feel like really bad. I mean, like I know, even in the year in which we live today, a lot of people aren't like having good years. A lot of people are going through a lot of things. Life has become a lot harder to live. My pastor actually said on Sunday, and I'm going to say this, and I'm glad this is the second time I've been able to say this today, is that happiness is a choice.
Mhm.
And so you can't depend on people to make you happy. You can't depend on your job to make you happy. You can't depend on your significant other, your partner to make you happy. It starts on the inside. Like you have to choose happiness and joy every day. And, by creating something like Whimsy and Wonder Collective, like I choose joy because when I work in this space, when I do these things, these items bring joy to me in a different way. Like I love reading. I love being in a story. I'm a big dreamer. I've said it already. I'm a big dreamer. I love dreaming and books help me to do that. Like I love like just stepping outside of my own space just for a little bit in order to like just dream a little. And so I just think like it is up to us, we're in collaboration with God, right? But we have to choose it. We have to choose it first and we have to speak it and we have to say, like, this is what I'm choosing, even in the bad times, like even in the moments that don't feel, we're always going to be going through something, but it's how you choose to deal with it. And don't get me wrong, because as a person that goes to therapy, yes, you've got to have your vent moment. You got to vent about it. You got to get it out. You have to honor the feeling. I cried 2 weeks ago on a Thursday, to be exact. Cried 2 weeks ago on a Thursday to God about what are we doing here? I mean, you brought me to this space. You brought me to this very moment right here. And I believe you brought me here because you have grand plans for me. And, but I don't see it happening right now, Lord. And I was just like, in shambles and cried and asked him. But even in my tears, it was still a conversation with God, and I said to him, I was like, I just need a sign. I just need you, like, you don't have to make the thing. You don't have to, because I know you can snap your fingers and all this stuff will be just perfect tomorrow. You don't have to do that. I'm not asking for that. What I'm asking for is just one simple sign to keep pushing forward. And Friday night, I went out, my husband and I went to a movie. I came out of the movie, got in the car, and I had a text from someone who was like, hey, I thought about you. Do you want to do this thing? Because there's an opportunity. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. Thank you.
Wow. That is amazing. Like God works in such mysterious ways. And it's, yeah, and those crying moments, I feel like they're just a form of power. Some people may think, oh, you're crying, it makes you weak. No, no. Like,
No.
okay, Kyra, I've been crying almost every day. Lately. And I was probably hormonal, but you know what? I feel so much better when I cry, and then I get answers because I'm just like, oh, I don't know what to do in this situation. Da, da, da,
Yeah.
da. And then I feel so much better. Like my burden was given to God, and then He gives me
Yes.
those signs, guidance, and
Yes.
then you just have a knowing then afterward. You're like, okay, I know this is from God because you just know.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And it is. And it's like because it's you at your most vulnerable state. And it's not you being like, I figured it out and I did this. And because I look at nothing as like I moments. It's always the two of us. And I'm always talking to him. And
Yeah.
we're always just having a conversation about, what it's the trust and it's the trusting. And I also love when he's like, but let me tell you about yourself, Kyra. And I'm like, okay, okay, like you said it. I heard it. Like you have to keep telling me. I got it, Lord. But it's also those moments too where it's like, practicing. Because for me, I'll tell you, I'm the type of person that I'm very much like, well, let me try. Let me, well, I'm gonna do this part because I want God to know that like I'm doing my part too. Like I'm not just like sitting around waiting for him to do everything. And sometimes it's like maybe, yeah, sometimes he's like, well, I don't need your help. I know that you are willing to do. And I think that was really hard for me because sometimes it's like I just, like my heart is saying like I just don't want for him to feel like I would ever take for granted the blessings that he's given me. So I want to make sure that he knows that like I am also going to make sure that I keep doing things too to help. And he's like, but I don't need your help. I need you to sit down. So I
Isn't
sit
that the
down, little
truth?
girl.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? Oh my goodness. And I think in past conversations, I was mentioning to you that I had a coloring book and
Yes.
I was in rehab. And
Hmm.
I felt that by me coloring brought me some peace.
Hmm.
And I wasn't thinking about all the things, that goes on in our
Yeah.
heads, like the future, the
Yeah.
past. I was right there at that moment
Yes.
coloring, and it was these beautiful fractals with like my color pencils. My mom had bought it for me,
Yeah.
and even after I got out of rehab and continued my sobriety journey, I was coloring and coloring and coloring. And I should find that coloring book. I'm sure it's somewhere. It's probably somewhere in the garage. But I should bust that out and, just it
Yes.
brings back memories. So I know
Yeah.
that a lot of our listeners are on a path of recovery
Hmm.
and are on the sobriety journey, and they feel they perhaps, because of the alcohol had dimmed their light so much, they don't feel as
Hmm.
creative anymore, and they're trying to discover who they are. And I honestly, I swear that your products will definitely help them
Yeah.
because it will get them back to the present moment. It would then establish more of their creative side, and then they can see
Hmm.
what they're creating, and that
Hmm.
brings joy. Like, I actually did that.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
it's such a blessing to have your products out there, and I really hope that the listeners would take advantage of getting them because
Yeah.
yeah, I know for myself, like, I love creating things, and it's so funny. You literally created magic in within your home by having all these magical items. So your house is whimsical and magical, and it's a
Yes.
wonder, right?
Yes, I've tried that. I'm so glad you brought up the coloring book because there are coloring sheets in like pretty much all the kits, the digital kits that are offered. Because I too, like you, we talked about it, and I too color. And I have a coloring book that I pull out on a lot of Sundays, and I just like color a little bit, put it down, pick up a book, read. I'm definitely one of those people that like my whimsy is spread around with different different things. So I'm like, I might be up there doing just a few things on the puzzle, then I come down here and do a few things on the miniature, and I pick up a book and read a little bit, and then I color a little bit. And to Gina's point, like yes, it is an opportunity to just really help you on the journey as you're on your sobriety journey and recovery journey to just they're almost prompts of creativity. So you can like just get back to what feels right for you. And then you can definitely, who knows, you might go off and create your own. And I think that would be fantastic. Now, I will tell you that, for the audience here, I'm offering a special promo code that Gina can share in the show notes, but it's SW5. So SW and the number five for 5% off anything that you want to purchase on the site.
That is amazing. I will definitely include that in the show notes because guess what? Like I mentioned in the beginning of this podcast, the holidays are just around the corner. And I know
Yes.
this episode is going to be released October 22nd. And so it'll be
Yeah.
right
But
before the holidays. So please take
yes.
advantage of that code. But are you going to be doing anything for the holidays or any bundles or like
Yes.
Christmas
Yes.
theme?
So they are, and they're in the works right now, just kind of like in the preliminary like planning, but there will be some because they just actually finished up like for the Thanksgiving time of year, like gratitude kit. So that one will be up, and then there will be some more like Christmas theme, holiday focus, like even New Year, like how to start the new year off. Because I think like a lot of us think we know it's like, oh, get your journal and then, or I'm sorry, get your calendar. And of course, like put stuff all in there, but I think just some general like prompting to help people with just like how do you want to truly approach the new year? Because like no matter what this year looks like, you know, I am just a firm believer. I always have hope. Like I always have hope. I always believe that it will be better. These are just simply moments that we go through. They are not going to be lasting, but it's how you show up in the moments. And like I said, it's totally like I'm not telling you you can't feel bad. You can't have a day where you feel off because we all do. But continuously choose happiness and joy and choose, you know, choose God and choose to have those conversations with him, like talk to him. I mean, I always say this to people, I'm like, oh my God, like we talk like regular people because I mean, he already knows what I'm thinking. So I mean, I may as well just talk regular, like I'm not in there like, oh, thou Jesus, I needs to know whence does my no. I'm like, Lord, okay, like let's just be real with each other. What do I need to be doing? Or where am I missing the mark? And so, and so I think like I just think that's really important. And so I hope that you all will check out the website and I hope that it will bring you the same sense of like joy and curiosity that it gives me as I'm creating things to put out there for the world. But also too, like if you're like a reader, I've got a new thing on the site, blind date with the book. So it's for you probably have seen it. Like I sort of saw it blow up on TikTok where it's like, you know, you get a book that's wrapped and it could be in any genre. It could be history, it could be fantasy, it can be romance, a thriller, but it's like all wrapped up and it's got stickers and everything. And so you get to unwrap this. So if you're like a person, like you're on a Friday night, I got a cozy night in planned and I'm gonna read. You open up this book, it's a surprise. And then you get to have this experience. And it's really about like creating, I think, like you mentioned earlier, like having these moments in my house. Yeah, it's really about creating the experience that I want. Nobody can take that away from me in my space. And so, you know, most times I'm like, do I really need to go outside?
What a brilliant idea. And it's because you're such a woman of faith. It really is whatever they get and they open up that read, it's from God, you know, and
Yeah,
it's meant for them to read that. And that's what I feel anyway. That's
yeah,
what's coming to me.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so I need to get that. I'll have to buy one of those books and then I know it's going to be a godsend. And I'm like, okay, Gina, this book is meant for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Get you a blind date with a book, girl.
I love that. Now, too bad it doesn't work with men for other people. Oh my goodness, but we're both married.
Yep. Yep. I got a steady date in here.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So when someone opens one of your bundles or sits down to
Mhm.
create with your products, what do you hope they feel or remember?
I hope that honestly that they feel seen because I think that's one of the most important things. And that's the reason I created this is because I felt like just wanted to create something that made me feel like seen as a person and like, wow, like you get me, somebody gets me. Like I want them to feel like, wow, like she gets me. Like that Kyra, like I love that. And I want them to feel, you know, like they've opened up a door of nostalgia that feels like pure to them and brings them joy. And if you walk away with that feeling of joy, calmness, safety, then I think the product has done its job.
Yeah, I love that. And where do you see Whimsy and Wonder in the next few
Ooh.
years?
Well, I am, you know, I'm just going to put it out there and speak it into existence because it's what I want, it's what I'm working on. Really want to see it in its next phase in a mobile unit,
Oh, wow.
driving around, starting in Atlanta, driving around Atlanta, dropping off, you know, joy. in different pockets of this space. And then, who knows? I could see it being franchised out into other people who are a part of this Whimsy and Wonder Collective, doing it in their own spaces. And then maybe, down the road, it becomes more of a storefront. But right now, I'd be totally fine with it being a mobile unit that goes around because I don't know, there's something about like creative people, you usually can't like bolt us down. So
Yeah.
I think the mobile unit feels more like I can go anywhere and I can be anywhere with it, because you never know who needs joy. So, I can drop pockets of joy into different neighborhoods. So yeah, so that's really where I'd like to see it go next, and really just this opportunity to create almost like workshops for people to get together and do digital, like do look at the printables, create their bookmarks together, do the crafting together. So that's where I'd like to see it go. That's where it is going. I I,
Oh, that's
I
where
say
it
that.
is going. It's already here, actually. I can totally, growing up, I loved the ice cream trucks growing around
Yes.
the neighborhood. Like,
Yeah.
stop, 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 and then I would go in there, we'd pick whatever we want, and then
Yes.
that bring us joy. At least yours would be healthier. We don't have to have sugar, and
Hey,
it'll
but
stimulate the mind.
yeah, but you gotta always honor yourself with something like a good sweet treat is
Oh,
always great.
yes.
And I'm like you, Gina. I love the ice cream truck, but I feel like they are becoming like a dying thing now. Like what, like maybe like 2, 3 years ago, I used to see them come through my neighborhood in the summer. And now it's like this whole summer went by and I can't recall seeing an ice cream truck like come
I
through our
know.
neighborhood. And I'm like, but where's the ice cream truck? Because we would still go buy things from it. I'm like, oh my God.
Yes.
Like, yeah, so yeah, it's like an ice cream truck, it's think ice cream truck, but Whimsy and Wonder Collective.
I love that. Oh, it's
Yes.
it's happening, Kyra.
Yes.
But for someone listening who's actually like lost touch with joy, creativity, and faith, in your opinion, what is one small step they could go ahead and take to start reclaiming that sense of wonder?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, maybe just think about like if you can just be still in a moment and just think about a thing that brought you joy. And if you say it's I don't know, it's when I used to get sticker books as a child, then go buy one. Buy a sticker book. Even if you don't buy from me, go buy a sticker book. Go and buy something that just triggers and reminds your soul and reminds your heart of like how simple it can be. I think we'd be really shocked by the fact that just the small, simple things can bring us, like, put a smile on our face. So I encourage you to go and just sit still with it for a moment and just ask yourself, and I will ask God to remind you, bring my heart back to the place where I felt joy. And ask yourself as a child, because I think like it starts there. It's the innocence of the very things that we did when we were children. Because, like I said, I will always recall the book fair. Like, it's the one thing. Like, I always will recall that. I actually, side note and sort of funny story, and I promise y'all I'm not a creeper. But there's a school around the corner from me, and I used to drive by and I saw the Scholastic Book Fair on the sign. And I asked my husband, I was like, I mean, do you think they would let me in without a child? And he was like, yeah, they probably lock you up. So but I was just that encouraged because I was like, oh my God, like these kids. And I had said to myself, I was like, man, I really hope like they appreciate the book fair, because it's like in a weird kind of way, I've created a book fair for adults.
Yes, it brings us back to our inner child, and that is so
Yes.
important. Oh, going back there. Yeah. So this conversation has literally brought me back to the good moments of my childhood and
Yes.
me playing jump rope, what is that? With my friends and hide
Yeah.
and seek,
Yeah.
hopscotch, and then we
Thank
do our
you.
coloring and the ice cream trucks. It's like, wow.
Yes.
And who says we can't do this as adults?
We can. Yeah, we can. We can, and I think the reason why I'm so encouraged by doing things like this is because, and I trust me, as a person that loves TikTok too, like seeing all those nostalgic images from the 90s and really seeing how people who are like Gen Z who didn't get to grow up like in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, like seeing and hearing in their reading in their messages the sadness or the longing for a time that they never knew. Like they never knew what it was like to grow up in the 80s, what it was like to grow up in the 90s. And they are saddened by that because they see it was such a simple time. And then I see people who, are like millennial Gen X, and they're like, oh my God, like I give anything to go back to to that time. And I'm like, well, we can't go back, so we have to figure out how to create that. And as a person who looks at those, I look at all those and I'm like, oh my God, I remember that. I saw a slip and slide on one of those.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was like, oh my God, I remember I used to be like slip and slide champion.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but also too, I remember sort of taking that for granted. Like because we used to like do it like every weekend in the summer. And I remember like being like, man, all we do is slip and slide all the time. But we do slip and slide, excuse me, and then during the week we would go to the library. And there's still something about like the library. I can still smell the old library. Now, what did I do as an adult? I went around the corner. There's a library like 10 minutes from my house, and I got a library card. And
Yeah.
sometimes I show up to the library during the week and I just go in there and I just look at books. So it doesn't have to cost a lot to like go back to the times that where you found like that pure joy and that pure innocence of life. So I just encourage people to do that. Figure out the one thing that, and go with the thing that comes to you first. Like
Hmm.
if it's coloring, go get a coloring book and some pencils and color.
Yes, go with the thing that comes to you first. Instead of overthinking things, what comes to you first,
Yes.
choose that one. That's the
Yes.
one that's
Because
meant for you
yes,
at that moment.
exactly.
Oh, amazing. Whimsy and Wonder Collective. Can you please drop that website?
Yes. Whimsy and Wonder Collective.com. And then you can follow us on Instagram at Whimsy and Wonder Collective. And then TikTok, Whimsy Wonder Co. But you can grab those links also on the website. Go to the website first.
Yes, go to the website. It's amazing. You'll then be trapped into nostalgia and then just wonder
Yes.
and feel all fun and giddy and just like a child again. Oh, wow.
Yes.
So I don't think I've ever asked you this question, but I always ask this to my guests, but I'm like, I don't think I've ever asked you this. Kyra, what does it mean to shine within?
Ooh, well, that is a great question. I think it means being kind. I think it means being respectful to everyone. I think it is having a dream, having something, like have something that matters to you and something that you're reaching for. But overall, just say like, you shine from within when you're good to other people and you care about other people. I think that is most important. Is just being a good, solid person and showing up for not only yourself, but showing up for the people in your life that matters the most.
I love that so much. Yes, you're so right.
Yep. And also sharing those testimonies, like
Yes.
sharing those testimonies, like when don't hold God to yourself. Like don't be afraid. Be a Christian that's out there sharing about his goodness. Talk about the goodness because it's all like I can't do what I do without him. Like none of these ideas, none of this stuff comes just because, oh, I'm so smart. Nope. No, it comes because I have an active like relationship and conversation with God all the time about the things. And even when there are the things that I do that maybe he's like, well, don't do that. And then I do them anyway. But he's gentle. He lets me
Yeah.
come back and say, I'm sorry. So I just say, like, sharing his goodness with other people is so important and it's so needed in the time that we live in. So just make sure that you're, using your light and you're sharing with others as well.
Amen to that. Wow. So powerful. Well, thank you so much again for this wonderful conversation. And yes, congratulations on this
Thank you.
beautiful, well, these beautiful products that you've created. And yes, God does wonders and He's magical. So
Yes,
thank you
yes.
so much, Kyra.
Thank you, my friend.